Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. I get the pleasure today of restoring another Johnny Lightning. This car was released in 1969, the Mako Shark. This car here was inspired after a General Motors design by Larry Shinoda from 1965, the Mako Shark. It was a concept car that was never released, but this car here was definitely pretty cool. It's got those overtones of the Chevrolet Corvette in there. But this is a pretty cool car, and we're going to do our best to restore it back to its original condition with maybe just a few little tweaks to it of my own. But I'm really excited to do the Johnny Lightnings. Let's have some fun, and let's go ahead and get started with today's restoration. I've already drilled out the posts on this car. Now, if you thought that the posts on the old red lines were narrow, you've seen nothing yet, buddy, because the posts on these Johnny Lightnings are so thin. There is zero room for error when it comes to drilling out the post on a Johnny Lightning. The windshield is crimped in, so we've got to drill that out. The hood opens up, but I don't like the way that the engine is painted over also, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that when we go to do the painting. The base is in pretty good shape. Fortunately, those little tabs on the end are still there because that's normally one of the very first things on these cars that breaks off. The wheels are in good shape, but we'll have to touch those up with a chrome pen. Interior is excellent, just needs a little bit of cleaning with a toothbrush and some soap and water. And the windshield needs to be polished. Here we're going to go ahead and throw the body in some citrus strip. Again, make sure that you try and drill out those posts before you do any painting whatsoever, because you don't want to mess up your paint once you paint it up and you're going to drill out your posts and like that. It's not very good. This car does have some toning on it and some little blotches on there. I tried getting it off with this steel wool and the Scotch-Brite pad and like that. I got a lot of it off, and man, it was just giving me a hard time. You just keep working at it and do the best you can with it. Now, some of those spots and toning and like that were all in the back of the car, and it just was giving me such a fit. Well, I got these things that I found on Amazon, and they're buffing wheels. But not only are they buffing wheels, but they're made out of the same material that the Scotch-Brite pads are made out of. So we're going to go ahead and give that a try. Now, I have used these before, and I got some information about them to pass on to you. So let's not waste any more time with the steel wool, and let's show you these little buffing pads. As I was saying, there's a lot of spots on here, but I want it to look really good. Now, these buffing pads here, again, are made out of the same material as the Scotch-Brite pads. And they come in different strengths, I guess you want to say. Different consistencies. Now, I use the green one here. The thing is, though, folks, is these things wear away super quick. If you get a pad to last one car, you're lucky. So take that in mind if you go to buy these. They work well, but they wear away very quick. We got all the toning and everything off, which is cool. Now we're going to use the Blue Magic Metal Polish Cream. Put a little bit of that stuff on there, and we're going to go ahead and buff this bad boy out. I like this cream. It works really good, and I like the Flitz polish too. That's excellent stuff also. Any kind of cream like that you can use, or a paste or something like that, that's good stuff because it stays in place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos. Look how quickly this car is coming back as far as polishing it up. Also, be careful around any hoods or any doors or anything that open up, because you could definitely, that Dremel pad will grab a hold of that thing and rip it open, and you're liable to snap it off. Ask me, I know this, okay? You get it all nice and polished and it's looking real good, and all of a sudden you hear ting, and that thing goes flying across the room, and it makes you say a lot of curse words. I've been there, okay? That is your tip today from your Uncle Paulie. This is looking really, really good. I'm happy with that. Now, I buffed on this for about another 5 minutes or so, but we don't need to be going into that. We'll clean it up with degreaser, and then we'll get it ready for paint. Here we're putting down the tack coats of paint, getting all the hard to reach areas, the fender wells inside the doors and everything. And we're putting down a very light coat here. Again, this is called the tack coat. This allows the paint that you're going to spray in the future something to hold on to when you put on a little bit heavier coats. Just make sure that as you're going back and forth that you're covering the entire length of the vehicle as best as you can. Just cover everything. Now, I put a little piece of tape over the injector stacks on the inside there where the engine goes. I didn't want to paint those again, and that's my little modification to this paint job.
Several minutes later.
After we let it set up for about 10 minutes, now we're going to come back in and do a little bit heavier coats on this thing. That Spectre Flame Red on this Johnny Lightning is making this thing look phenomenal. Man, does that look good. Like I said, just a little bit heavier coats. You want to make it wet, but you don't want to saturate it to the point where it's going to run. And that's a real fine line that you're going to have to learn how to apply that much paint without it running. That's where practice comes in for sure. And this is why I recommend, before you take on any of these old cars, practice on some old mainlines or some mainlines you get from Walmart or something. Again, they're only 99 cents or 94 cents or something like that. And sometimes you can even find those on sale. But take your time and learn how the airbrush works, how to mix your paint, and work it out on those mainline cars before you start getting into the heavy-duty restorations on these older Red Lines and Johnny Lightnings and Matchbox and stuff like that. This is how you hone your skills. You get in there and you practice and you do this stuff and learn how to do it before you take on the more difficult projects. But you can definitely do this. I took the base and I used a Mako chrome pen, and we're going to go in there and we're going to try and fix the wheels as best we can. Finding any aftermarket parts for Johnny Lightnings is virtually impossible. So the only way you're going to get this stuff is by finding donor cars or fixing what you have. Again, using this Mako chrome pen, we're going to go in and do the best we can to fix this up. Now, sometimes you slip a little bit and you get some inside the black area there. Just wait for it to dry and hit it up with a black paint pen, and you'll fix it right up. Now, these cars very faintly do have a red line around the wheels. That just happened to be the style of tires during this time frame. They actually had a red stripe around the tire instead of like a white wall or something like that. True story. Well, that's looking pretty good. Let's move on. Here we've got all the pieces together. We got the body. Now look, that area where I covered up the injector stacks there with the tape. That looks fantastic now. It makes the engine stand out that much more. The base looks good. The tires were redone. Took a wire brush and cleaned up the base. That looks fantastic. Everything's good there. We took the glass and we polished that up with some of the Meguiar's plastic polish. And the interior, went ahead and cleaned it up with some soap and water. And this is what we started with. Again, just the fact that it had all those little exhaust pipes out the back without being broken off was a bonus, because that's the first thing that snaps on these cars. Now you can see some of them are bent. I'm not going to bend those back in place, I'll tell you what, because they will just fall off in your hands. If you don't get them to fall off, you're incredibly lucky. We took the car here. It had a lot of flea bites on it, and that means that it had a lot of little specks of paint missing, like a little flea bit at it. We've got some big chunks of paint too. The tires were in pretty good shape. We just needed to hit them off with a chrome pen. We took it apart. We stripped the paint. We painted it up. We polished the glass. We scrubbed the interior. We buffed up the base with a wire brush. And we did the best we could to restore this. Again, I taped off the engine so it looked that much better, and I think it really added to the appearance. And here's what we got to. Look at this beautiful Johnny Lightning Topper Series Mako Shark. Man, I am so proud of this car using that Spectre Flame Red paint that I got at the Redline Shop. Check out the Redline Shop at www.redlineshop.com. They've got a fantastic product where red lines come to life. Man, I am so happy with this car. I'm so excited. I've got a bunch of other Johnny Lightnings coming in the mail that I'm going to do. Now, some of the cars are pretty weird looking, all right? Just don't shoot the messenger here. But we're going to do our best to restore them because cars from that era, they deserve to preserve the history of this hobby. And I was really happy to be able to get this car. If I get another one, I'm going to paint it Windex blue or something like that. That'd be fantastic. Now I have a Patreon page. These nice folks, they subscribe to my channel and they make a small donation every month to allow me to buy the supplies I need to keep this channel going. Now, I could not do this hobby without these folks. And I'm going to highlight a couple of folks here. Mr. Les Jenkins, thank you, sir. Mr. Grizz Flowers, he's got a business called Bearcat Designs along with William K7 Robinson. They are together with this Bearcat Designs that do the 3D printing. Down below, we've got Jim Silva, who's got a YouTube page. Please check out his builds. Richard at Michio Woods Garage. Mr. Pete Langford. Chris Decker, thank you, sir. Wayne Hendricks, John Sellers. Air Warrior Coffee. You guys are absolutely awesome. And Mr. Adam Bowen, a new member. Thank you so much. His wife signed him up for this. He's got a wife that supports him in this hobby, guys. How cool is that? Thank you so much. This is Paul at Diecast Graveyard. You guys absolutely rock, and I can't thank you enough for subscribing to my videos. And gosh, we got a lot more videos coming up in the future. So please subscribe and please sign up for that Patreon page. You'd help me out. Cheers.